working on your project for photography
Yeah,
class?
I am. I was just working on it actually. You check it out. Think about it.
I don't know, Grayson. It looks like you didn't listen to instructions. Yeah.
I'm throwing up rainbows. What do you mean?
Yeah, I do see a lot of rainbows and throw up in this.
Beep, boop.
Is it good?
Yeah, I don't know, Grayson. It looks like you didn't follow instructions.
What do you mean?
You know, the rule of thirds? You didn't even use the rule of thirds.
What do you mean?
You know, the rule of thirds. Mr. Sands talked about it in class. But you didn't use the rule of thirds like Mr. Sands instructed.
Well, how do I use it?
Well, Mr. Sands, why don't you go over that with
Again?
him?
I feel like I did this already.
Yeah, Grayson, you should have paid attention.
Oh, what can I say?
Okay, the rule of thirds is a pretty basic concept. You break your image into a top third by drawing a line, a middle third, and then a bottom third. And then what you do after that is you do the same thing for the sides. So you put a line on the left-hand side, so you've got a left-hand side, and then you have another line, and you have a middle third, and then you have a right third. And a lot of apps will have these lines built in. If you didn't know what they were, they're telling you where the rule of thirds go. Now, where you want to place your objects when you're taking a picture is right where those green dots are. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, so here's a portrait of a girl. Now she's laying in a field, but she's right in the middle of the picture, and she's not lined up with any of those four quadrants I just talked about. So it's not the greatest composition. But now when I move her over just a little bit to the left, see how her eye lines up with that top third quadrant, and her chin lines up with the bottom right there. There's a lot of space to the right, but that's great. It makes for a good composition. This is the exact same thing with another portrait. Look how her eye lines right up in that middle third, top third, and her lip lines up with that bottom third right there. Again, a lot of space to the left, but that looks good. Landscapes work the same way. You see the top line there, the horizon line, it's way up high. There's all this road. But if we simply just move it down a little bit, now the horizon line lines up great with that top quadrant. It makes for a much better composition. But look at this one, it's even better. The bottom part of the landscape lines up with the bottom line, the top of the mountains line up with the top line, and that horse is almost right on that third to the left there. That's a nice composition. Here's another example with architecture. Look how the top of the Eiffel Tower reaches that top third quadrant, and the landscape on the bottom lines up with the bottom line. This is the kind of thing you want to do when you're using the rule of thirds. I mean, just look at this example. I don't even have to put the lines on. You can see where everything lines up on the rule of thirds. Once you got the hang of it, you know how to do it. Alright, so here's a couple of projects you can try. Project number 1. Try using the rule of thirds. Go out there and take some photographs and try to apply the rule of thirds to those photographs. You might take a picture of someone in your family, a portrait. Social distancing. Hey, you might take a picture of a landscape, take a picture of your backyard, or some still life objects you just have laying around, or even your own house. But try to find the ways that you can align it up using the rule of thirds. It's a lot of fun. Alright, here's another fun project you can do with photography. Go out and do some forced perspective. What is forced perspective? Forced perspective is basically when you have two objects that are on different planes, but they look in the picture or appear to look as if they were on the same plane. Like this guy and this girl are obviously much further apart, but it looks like he's putting her in his mouth. He's about to chew on her. And this girl looks ginormous compared to that basketball court. But it's just that she's closer up, but it's an optical illusion to make it look like two pictures go together and they're on the same plane. Forced perspective, give it a try. Alright, this third project is called the Found Objects Color Wheel. Basically, sounds simple. You go out and you find some objects in your house and you align them in a color wheel. Roy G. Biv, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. But you know what? It's a little trickier than it looks. Give it a try. Alright, here's the last project for you to try. Project number 4, Found Object Art. Go find some objects in your house and try to make a work of art out of it. Hey, you can try to recreate a famous work of art like this one of the Scream. Or you could just make up your own picture, like maybe do a picture of your dog, or maybe just do a landscape of your backyard. Here's one that Grayson did. Came out great. Grayson gets a 98. Alright guys, go out, take some pictures, make some art, have fun. We'll talk to you in a bit.